right. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Is this working properly? Hopefully it is. Let me close my door real quick.はい、音が出る。OK、よかったです。はい、皆さん、こんにちは。道元です。皆さん、お元気ですか？僕はですね、今、様々な企画っていうか、ものに取り組んでるんですけど、今ちょっと微妙なところにあるんですよね、自分は。っていうと、なんかこう、様々なことで、相手のチェックを待っている段階なんですよね。様々なプロジェクトで。Stanley Cup. いいね。Yeah, this is funny. So like my brother, he came to Japan. He came to visit me the other, I guess it was about a month ago at this point, maybe a little bit more than that. And he was like, "Hey, I bought you like this Stanley Cup thing. It's like all the rave in the United States." I was like, "What?" Because I didn't know anything about this, but apparently these things are like crazy popular in the States right now. And I thought it was just the funniest thing because he said like they're most popular with like high school girls, which is like the funniest thing to me because I don't get it at all. I think it's just like a marketing slash commodity thing. But I mean, it's really useful to me because I drink a ton of water, so. 振り仮名どこYeah, but how's everyone doing? Yeah, it's more soccer moms and young adult women. ああ、そうなんだ。なるほどね。Not to mention it's confusing for people who watch hockey. Right. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what I thought actually when I looked at that at the comment a second ago. Hasn't this trend happened before with like hydro flasks? Not so sure about that. No, really, どこごめんなさい。ないです。Hi, Dogen. First time watching your live. Just got out of 5月病。5月病、無事に治りましたか？無事に立ち直ることできましたか？おはようございます。Yeah, the hydro flask. What's a hydro flask? Oh, okay, this is like also a water bottle? へえ、そうなんだ。こういうの流行ってたんだ。I had no idea. Good morning, sensei. Good morning. How you doing? Yeah, as I was just talking about a second ago, I'm kind of in between. I'm doing a lot of different projects right now, and I'm currently with most of them kind of at this in-between point where like I'm waiting for like a check from the person that I'm collaborating with, or like I'm waiting for something to arrive so that I can do the next thing necessary in that project. So I'm kind of in this weird spot, and I thought it would be fun to do a live stream. There's been a lot going on in Japan recently, and thought it might be kind of fun to talk about some of those things and also ideally answer some Japanese questions if anyone has any of those. ヤバタンとの生配信が見たい。ごめんなさい。ヤバタン今日いないです。来るのかな？ I failed N1. It's over. Well, I mean, for what it's worth, like N1, I seriously don't think that it's really good at what would you say, at testing some things, but not testing, I would argue, the more practical things. Like I've met a fair number of people that have passed N1, but their Japanese speaking ability isn't terribly good. There's no speaking section on the JLPT, which I think is so strange. I mean, it makes sense because how are you going to test the speaking of, like 2,000 people in a single venue. You can do it all at the same time if it's listening or if it's reading or writing, everyone can do that at the same time. But you can't do a one-on-one like speaking session. I failed for life. Many viewers from Okinawa. どうなんだろうね。多分少ないと思うんだけどね。Surprise from Chicago. Greetings from Chicago. This is quite a pleasant surprise. Just got the notification. Yeah, speaking tests just don't scale. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get why they don't do it, but at the same time, I think it's kind of not necessarily disingenuous. It's just how are you going to have like a language certification test that doesn't test your speaking? Speaking is, in my opinion, the most important thing. I stop at N2 and focus on my speaking after the JLPT test. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for the overwhelming majority of people. しばらく住んでみて、家はいい感じですか？そうですね。今はめっちゃくちゃいい感じです。っていうのは、最近まで温泉出てなかったんですよ。工務店のせいでも何でもないんですけど、なんか自分の住んでいる地域、別府って温泉の管理会社みたいなところがいくつかあるんですよね。で、自分の住んでいる地域はなんか会社がちょっと怪しいっていうかちょっとトラブルがあったんですよね。で、それでしばらく出てなかったんですよ、温泉が。それが、1年間ぐらい出てなかったんですけど、3、4ヶ月ぐらい前にまた出始めて、そっからだいぶいい感じですね。はい。こんにちは。私は英語の勉強も兼ねて、楽しく動画、見させてもらっています。ありがとうございます。別府温泉大好き。いや、別府温泉ほんと最高です。道元さんは地元の温泉に行くことはありますか？ないです。っていうのは、今家の中に温泉があるので、行く必要がないです。なるほど。さすが別府ですね。日本人ですが、温泉業者なんて存在知りませんでした。そうなんですよ。なんか市が管理しているところもあれば、個人の会社、個人っていうかもう株式会社とかが管理しているところもあって、で、はい。温泉の出ない別府は悲しすぎる。そうなんですよ。Thank you very much, B Pen Dragon. I paused my anime to be here. Yeah, we did it. Have a good stream. What are you watching? Have a good stream and thanks for the fun content. Now to learn Japanese so I can get more of the jokes. What anime are you watching? Right now I'm watching Delicious Dungeon Meshi. I don't know how to say it in Japanese because I'm so used to saying dungeon in English. I always screw up the Japanese pronunciation. 12月に別府に行きたいです。ぜひ来てください。別府最高です。特に冬の別府は最高です。Delicious in Dungeon. Yeah. So I'm watching that and I'm also watching Demon Slayer. I want to try Dogen's onsen. It's nice. I'm not going to lie. It's nice. Okay, maybe they should have, a separate exam. I think that would probably be a good idea. The Japanese school I'm at now, thankfully, do conversation/interview tests that seem to bring the kanji language users back to earth with regards to the actual language production skills. Yeah. I mean, I personally think it's super critical, the speaking element of the language. 鬼滅の刃は大好き。結構いいですよね。僕も結構好きで、なんかなんて言ったらいいのかな。僕少年アニメそこまで好きじゃないんですけど、もう少年じゃないんで今は。だけど その少年アニメの中では、まあ、鬼滅の刃結構、一番好きかもしれないですね。Hi, Dogen Sensei. Thank you for all your videos. I learned so much from you. I hope to see more of it for a long time. Yep, there's going to be a lot more coming. I've got like 2 videos that I'm working on right now, one of which I'm super excited for, but I can't really talk about that at the moment. でっかいカップですね。そうなんですよ。これ、ステンリーカップといって今アメリカでめっちゃくちゃ流行っているみたいなんですよ。なんか人気アイテムらしいです。僕知らなかったんですけど。Personally watching Eminence in Shadow as part of an anime trade with friends. Yeah, the anime that I really want to watch, that I've been meaning to watch, is Made in Abyss. I keep hearing really, really, really good things about that. 少年いや、その感じじゃないですよね。少年。これですね。少年。少年。What's the capacity of that big boy? Looks like 2 liters. その近いですね。1.18 リットル。40 ounces. Do yourself a favor, don't. Made in Abyss OST is fantastic. Kevin Penkin did a stellar job. Well, that's the thing. I don't watch that much. What would you say, like anime related content on YouTube? The people that I do watch are kind of just like the big people, like Joey and Giguk and. Yeah, mostly just those guys, and then Trash Taste. But the thing is, my favorite anime of all time, like bar none, is Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and that won Anime of the Year. And Giguk Garnt, he spoke really, really highly of Edge Runners when he put out like his own dedicated review of it. He was like, "This is so good, like a stellar, fantastic anime," and I was like, "Yes, I couldn't agree more." But then when he put out his like, I guess it was 2022, 2000, yeah, because it wasn't last year. Yeah, it would have been 2022, sorry. I think he put Edge Runners as his number 3 anime of that year, and Made in Abyss season 2 was his number 1. And I was like, wait. Better than Edge Runners? Okay. I'm gonna have to check this out. It's just been I've been like a little bit too busy, and everything that I've heard has been kind of more about the second season as opposed to the first season. So there's that as well. But then also, someone mentioned again Kevin Penkin. He's a mutual on Twitter, and I've heard some of his stuff on other just like standalone YouTube videos that like I've seen like his interviews and stuff like that, and he's just like a really super interesting person. But so many people have told me like the Made in Abyss music is so good, and so I got to check that out. Have you tried Cyberpunk 2077? No, I haven't. There was that whole like kind of, I don't know, fiasco or whatever that kind of surrounded the launch, but then I want to say that I was playing Elden Ring, or Elden Ring was about to come out, and then Armored Core ended up coming out. I basically only play From Software games. JK だったらスタンリーいつも持ってる普通に。そうなんだ。日本人です。動画いつも楽しく見させてもらっています。ありがとうございます。セル vs ベジータあたりの、インフレが面白いですね。というのはどういう、I've heard really good things about Cyberpunk in recent months, though. Like I've heard that the update they put out basically fixed everything and then added on a bunch of new content as well. And now it's like sitting around like a 9.5 average or something like that. アメリカ人がたくさん水飲むのってどうしてでしょうか？単純に体にいいからだと思うんですよね。で、アメリカ人が水をたくさん飲むんじゃなくて、一部のアメリカ人がめちゃくちゃ水を飲む。で、その飲む量が半端なくて、それを見て、日本人としてその量を見てしまうと、なんじゃこれやってなるから、印象に残って、アメリカ人がこんなことをするんだって思うようになると思うんですよね。アメリカ人全員がそうするわけでもないんですけど、一人でもそうしている人がいれば、もう印象が強すぎて絶対忘れることないから、アメリカ人すごいなって多分なると思うんですよね。で、自分もちなみにそのアメリカ人の一人で、自分は単純にその健康の、ことを考えて水をたくさん、飲むようにしています。Hey Dogen, big fan. I studied Japanese up to intermediate level 7 years ago. Trying to start over again. Any advice? I'm stuck in beginner hell. Yep, just immerse yourself in as much native speech as possible. I think that the key to kind of getting from intermediate, getting to a point where you can understand most of what's being said in everyday conversations is just to listen to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of Japanese. 動画のネタにすでになってそうなトピックですね。いや、確か作ったと思うんですよね。日本に、日本に生きるが必要です。Thanks for the hydration reminder. ファーストフード店のカップもでかいですよね。そうなんですよ。でも多分、そのファーストフードではみんな水じゃなくてジュースを飲んでると思うんですよね。で、ジュースって砂糖がめちゃくちゃ入ってるじゃないですか。で、みんなじゃないんですけど、アメリカ人でなんて言うんでしたっけ？糖尿病？ダイアビリーズで糖尿病でいいんでしたっけ？糖尿病。いや、そうだな。糖尿病。アメリカ人で糖尿病になっている人が多いんですよね。で、そのほとんどが、ジュースでそうなってるんですよ。ジュースだと一気にダイアビリスそのとんでもない量の砂糖をなんていうのかな、飲むっていうか摂取っていいですかね、できるからできてしまうから、でみんなジュース中毒になって、そうなってしまうとよりもう一個大きなサイズ、それに慣れてしまったらまたもっと大きなサイズみたいな過程なんですよね。合ってます。よかったです。How's the family doing? Pretty good. America likes their sugars too. A morbid blessing. Dogen, I'm visiting Japan for the first time soon. What's the best Japan exclusive item at Taco Bell? Let's celebrate their third super on a live stream. Oh, is that your third? Thank you very much. Oops. How do I do this? Well, morbid blessing. Thank you very much for that. For the super. But to be frank, I don't know. There's not a Taco Bell near. I don't even know if there's anyone in Kyushu. Like there might be like one in like Fukuoka. I know that there's one in Shibuya. I actually went to that with Joey like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. It was a long ass time ago. But I just had like quesadillas when I went there. That's what I would get. I love quesadillas. I had one yesterday. I had burritos this morning, but they were homemade, so. Hey, Dogen sensei. I was wondering what's your favorite 20th century Japanese author? Um, Probably Urasawa Naoki. Sorry, are you talking about manga or like shousetsu? Tsukimi. It's all about the seasonal McDonald's offering. Tsukimi burger is the best. That's so funny. I read like Tsukimi and I just think of like なんだっけナルトのつくよみ like the シャリンガンなんて言うんでしたっけ the イタチの万華鏡シャリンガンなんでしたっけタコベル日本に店があるのを知らなかった。そうなんですよ。少ないんですけどあるんですよ。Okay, let's see. Watching Urasawa Naoki interview other mangaka on Manben is amazing. Great choice. Novel authors, then I would say Kanehara Hitomi, Murakami Ryu, and Mishima Yukio. Those are my three favorites. Yeah, Urasawa is incredible. Pluto is one of my favorite works of fiction. Yeah, to be frank, the only thing that I've consumed from Urasawa Naoki is Monster. But Monster was my favorite anime for a really, really, really long time. So, ゆっくり増えてますよ。視聴者がですかね。東京だけど、じゃなくて、そうだね。タコベルがね。yeah, Monster is excellent. Monster is so good. What's your favorite light novel? I don't really read light novels, so it's hard for me to say. Yeah, I can't really comment on that. I'm good at reading and listening in Japanese. Every day I have a 35-minute conversation in Japanese in my backyard and focus on pitch and sounding natural. Does this sound like a good study structure? Yeah, as long as you're also consuming way more, as long as you're inputting more than you're outputting, then I think that you're good. And the reason that I say that is because if you, I don't know, this is kind of a divisive opinion, but I do generally agree with the fact that if you do too much output before you've done enough input, you can develop some bad habits. That was true for me anyway. And so for me, it also depends on like, someone brought up pitch accent right now. So if you've learned about like pitch accent and kind of like the trickier sounds of Japanese, and you've already studied them and you're getting a lot of input up until this point, you've had a lot of input up until this point, it's probably okay. Pitch accent が聞こえない人がいると思う。確実にいますっていうのは、自分はピッチアクセントを勉強しだした時は聞こえなかったんですよ。最高と最高の違いが聞き取れなかったんですよ。で、その多くのアメリカ人、英語を母語とする人たちが学生とかを学生って発音することはピッチアクセントが聞き取れていないっていうことを証明していると思うんですよね。一番好きです。村上龍一番好きです。ノンネイティブの方にはかなり難しいと思うんですが、日本語の原文で読めますか？はい、読めます。日本語で彼のコメディ小説69で発音合ってるのかなとオーディションとコンビニにてはい、全部日本語で読みました。で村上龍の本当すごいところは、僕が、個人的な意見なんですけど、もうその 作品によって文体でいいですかねがもう全然違うんですよね。69ではもう完全にコメディでなんかこう笑いながら読むっていう感じなんですけど、オーディションとかもホラーででなんだっけコンビニにてとかもなんかこう村上春樹に近い文体なんですよね。でこう同じ人が書いたのみたいな、もう雰囲気が全然違うんですよね。Do you recommend any Japanese YouTube channel for immerse listening? Well, it kind of depends on the level that you're at, but one channel that I watch really often is Nakata Atsuhiko no YouTube 大学. He does kind of like 解説動画. Like he kind of like breaks down various topics in Japanese, but you have to have a pretty high level of Japanese in order to understand what's going on. So like the video that he put out last night was like a breakdown of like the upcoming governor election, the Tokyo governor election that's coming up soon. Like小池でいいですかねと蓮舫さんでいいですかね。気になる。Hey, what's up, Josh? Thanks for stopping in. クイズノック見ますか？クイズノック、多分見ないんですよね。見たことあると思うんですけど、なんかこの名前が。ちょっと待ってくださいね。クイズノック。何回か見たことあるんですけど、普段から見ているかというと見てないですね。いつも道元さんの動画や配信を、見ています。とても英語の勉強になります。It's funny. The comment was, I always enjoy watching your videos, Dogen. It's good. Like, it's good for my English studies. But I just thought it was kind of ironic how like I was reading the comment in Japanese. コインロッカーベイビーズは人生で一番衝撃、だった小説です。あれ、コインロッカーベイビーズって村上龍だったっけ？限りなく透明に近いブルーは彼だったんですけど、コインロッカーベイビーズもそうでしたっけ？簡単小説が進めますか？どういうことですかね。Do you have any opinions on 立命館 University in Kyoto? I'm about to do an exchange there. Yeah, actually, some of the coolest people that I ever met the coolest Japanese students that I ever met when I was either studying abroad in Japan or after I went back to my university in the United States, the coolest students that I met were all students from 立命館 University, the one in either Osaka or Kyoto. So I think that you're in a good spot. くまくまくまベア great 小説あれくまくまThat's funny. Is the tick ちょっと待ってください。そっか村上龍なんだ。そうかそうだよね。Let's see. Is the tongue tip down valid? Is the tongue tip down valid for Japanese S's like it is in English, or do I need to change to tip up? The tip should be, generally speaking, down. Well, at least for like the palatalized she sound. Yeah. But yeah. 沖縄弁ちょっとできないんですよね。道元さん、こんにちは、初見です。ずっと前から Patreon を通じて、応援しています。ありがとうございます。あかりさん 1ドル層ですかね。なんか日本人だったらその音声学の層に入ってなさそうですけど、沖縄といえば、過半数割れみたいですね。過半数割れ。興味のある日本の方言はありますか？ないです。っていうのは、あえて標準語を使おうとします。っていうのは、日本語のアクセントを教えていますよね。なんで、方言になってしまうと、アクセントが違うっていう、そういう方言が多いんですよね。大分弁もそういう、方言全部っていうわけじゃないんですけど、単語によってはちょっとアクセントが違うっていうものがあるんですよね。大分弁は聞き取れますか？はい、完全に聞き取れます。話そうと思ったら多分話せると思うんですけど、個人的には面白いとは思うんですけど、自分には合わないような気がするんですよね。で、大阪弁とかも、アクセントが完全に違うんですよね。標準語と。なんです。食べないとかだったら、食べへんでいいですかね。昨日何々しました。昨日とかですよね。なんで自分の日本語も方言、なんか関西弁とかになってしまうと、うまく教える自信がないです。うまく教えられないと思うんです。Lately I've been watching, Anti-Hero in Japanese with Japanese subtitles. Do you watch Japanese TV shows? I watch anime. I don't watch a lot of Japanese TV shows anymore. When I was in university, I used to watch this show called なんだっけ、恋からの騒ぎ、さんまさんのお笑い番組、あれはめっちゃくちゃ面白かったな。関西弁のアクセントは日本に住んでいてもわからない。難しいんですよね。Stellar, hi, hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping in. 声からめっちゃ面白いですよね。あれほど面白い番組ないと思ったんですよ。ほぼ、全シーズン YouTube に載ってたっていうわけじゃないんですけど、かなり載ってたんですよね。多分、10から16期です。期でいいですかね。10期と10期から16期まで載ってたと思うんですけど、ほぼ見てたんですよね。大学4年生の時に、もうずっと繰り返して見てたんです。競争とか、さんまさんのニックネームがたまらなく面白くて、質問です。日本に、来られたピューリーパイさんに会ったことありますか？また、トラッシュテイストの配信に演出、する予定などないですか？ピューリーパイ会ったことないです。会いたいです。なんでかって、単純にめちゃくちゃ面白いと思うし、彼の一番好きな作家さんは村上じゃなくて三島由紀夫なんですよ。で、自分も三島由紀夫が大好きで、それについて話したいんです。で、トラッシュテイストにも、そうですね。演出できたらしたいなと思っています。さんまさんの面白さ伝わるんだね。いやー、伝わらないわけないと思うんですよね。誰が見てもその意味が分かっていれば多分笑えない人はいないと思うんです。Hope you guys collab soon. Yeah, who knows if that'll ever happen, but I think PewDiePie is a really funny guy, and I'm really happy for he seems like he's genuinely enjoying his life and time in Japan. It's interesting because a lot of people in the YouTube space in Japan, um, around my age, I guess, or not even really, because I'm probably on the older side. Like Chris is a couple, 2 or 3 years younger than me. I want to say Joey is like 7 or 8 years younger than me, and then I think Connor and Garnt are also around Joey's age. Um, so within the YouTube Japan foreigners community or whatever, I'm kind of on the older side. Ian, I've seen your comment. Thank you very much for that. I'll get to that in 1 second. But one of the interesting things, I don't know, interesting probably isn't the right word, but not a lot of people have kids. PewDiePie is one of the few guys in that kind of community. He's not nearly as active because he's kind of like semi-retired or whatever, but he is raising a child here in Japan, and I just thought it would kind of be interesting to talk to him about that as well, because of course it's kind of, we're in similar but yet different positions because we're foreigners raising our kids in Japan, but at the same time my kids are half Japanese and his kid is, well, what, half Swedish, half Italian. But as far as I can tell, they're raising their child in Japan. So I'd just be kind of interested to, talk to him about that. The differences, like the Japanese benefits, I guess, like what it's like, because I've heard really good things about like raising kids in like the Nordic countries and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of benefits, although probably for, I don't know, for PewDiePie, it probably wouldn't be that, what would you say, relevant, because a lot of those things have to deal with like, time off of work and that kind of thing. So anyway, hi Dogen, thanks for always making such amazing skits and topical topics, as well as teaching amazing Japanese, pitch accent and stuff blow my mind. You make my day. Hey, thank you very much, Ian. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that you find the videos helpful. And I hope that I'm able to continue to make inspiring videos going forward for you as well. Best of luck with your studies. Michael, I'm a JET alternate and Interact applicant. Hope to be in Japan soon. What a process this has been. I have my Interact mock lesson soon. Interesting. Best of luck with that. I saw something on TikTok the other day. It seems like there's actually some people that are like trying to form like an Interact union. Because I think they like cut wages recently. I don't know if that's 100% right or not, but 道元さん、こんにちは。道元さん、はテクノポップなどに興味ありますか？テクノポップ、テクノポップ、テクノ、英語のテクノテクノは好きですし、ポップも、最近のポップはそこまで聞かないんですけど、ポップ自体は結構好きなんで、嫌いな音楽ジャンルはないんで、はい。あなたサングラスをつけたら俳優のようになれる。ハゲているんで違います。だいぶ薄いんですよ。I love Ado. Yeah, Ado is really fantastic. I like listening to her a lot as well. Perhaps maybe like a city pop guy, or maybe synthwave. Well, I can tell you what I'm listening to recently. Let me open my... It's all like From Software game soundtracks. Like the Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon original soundtrack, the Bloodborne soundtrack. And then I've been listening to New Jeans, like the Korean band. That song Ditto. Ditto is probably the single best pop song I've heard in the past 10 years. I cannot believe how good of a song that is. It is unbelievably good. Otto is absolutely unbelievable. I went to every US show of her Wish tour. Nice. Hell yeah. How would you describe the tongue position / pronunciation for in bendy in the anticipation for the ri. It doesn't feel like the n pronunciation, but at the same time isn't the front of the teeth either. Yeah, so that's a great question. The thing is, ri, ri, ru, ru, ri. If I recall correctly, the overwhelming majority of sounds in Japanese where it's the i, gyo, so like ki, shi, mi, hi, ri, chi, etc. The tongue is slightly palatalized, and so rather than just the tip of the tongue going up and new jeans ditto, yeah, exactly. Rather than the tip of the tongue just going up and touching the back of the alveolar ridge, it kind of like arches a little bit, and it's kind of like the blade of the tongue is coming in contact with the pre-palatal area, so like kind of just slightly behind the alveolar ridge. And so that's kind of the tongue position that your tongue would be in bendy. But at the same time, that might be a little bit too much information, I think, for some people to keep track of. And I think it's, generally speaking, just easier if you try and think of it as you say ben, and your tongue goes up and touches your alveolar ridge. And then when you say the di, it just goes ben, di, bendy, like that. And you don't do ben, di. So you don't retract it. It just stays up there until you release it. I'm in India. India, nice. I probably have more Indian food than any other cuisine. I love it. Let's see. Why there be words like au and atsui and even more written different but also similar meanings? It just be like, I know which one you mean in speaking. The nuance is different. That's the thing. Like they're both hot, but like one is kind of used for weather, whereas like one is kind of, the other is typically used for like water and that kind of thing. Okay, so let's see. Dogen, unexpectedly hardcore. ボトル大きくてびっくりしました。みんな突っ込んでますね、これに。Repeating 便利 as we speak 詳しく、説明してくださってありがとうございます。いや、とんでもないです。自分も言えなかったんですよ。で、どうしたらいいか調べてみたら、あ、こういうことなんだって分かって言えるようになったんで、気持ちがよくわかります。Ever go to techno events around Tokyo or Kanto? No, but that's because I don't live there. I've been to a few like raves. I don't know if rave is the right word or not, but I've been to several like techno shows before, just never in Japan. Like I went to this really crazy show when I was in high school. It had like BT, it had Paul Oakenfold, it had, was it, who did Mind Circus? I can't remember. I went to Infected Mushroom. I went to DJ Crush. DJ Crush was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Oh my God. Keep up the amazing Japanese pronunciation videos. So thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to keep on trying to make them. Any thoughts on Fujikaze? Just discovered him this year. Yeah, I've, to be frank, I just haven't really gotten into it. Like I saw like that a ton of his videos had a ton of views, and I tried listening to one song, but it didn't really resonate with me too much. And so, yeah, just haven't really got into him. Where was the DJ Crush live? It was in Seattle. It was in Seattle during it would have been 2005 or maybe 2004 even. So it was a long time ago. Ever tried games like Arknights? Nope. Or Genshin? Nope. I've seen a lot of videos about Genshin though, like the drama. It's so funny. 僕の日本語は下手ですけど、 あなたの動画は完璧。ありがとうございます。そろそろ寝ます。楽しい動画をいつも本当にありがとうございます。いや、とんでもないです。ありがとうございます。あ、サカナクション、僕も大好きです。大好きです。でもサカナクションと同じようなバンドで、もっと好きなバンドで言うと、スーパーカー。僕、スーパーカー大好きなんですよ。解散した時は本当に涙が出ました。もうスーパーカーほどいい日本のバンドないと今でも思っています。スーパーカーと557188、本当最高の J-POP ですよね。新宝島聞いてみます。サカナクション。Yeah, サカナクション is really good too. 声のから騒ぎ。Yeah. Green Nugget. What are your thoughts on your house now that you've been living there a while? It's really nice. I really like it. There's a few things that I would have changed now that I've been living here, but I think that it's my friend told me something when I was building my house, and he said the thing is when you build a house, you have to go through the process of building a house 3 times before you can confidently build a house without making any major mistakes along the way. And I think that that's true. ピンポンって映画の主題歌、めっちゃ好き。スーパーカーの曲ですね。夢際ラストボーイですね。あれ、それだけじゃなかったような気がするんですよね。もう一個なかったっけ？ストロボライツとかだったかな。It's Dogen, do you like VNs? What's VNs? 私もスーパーカー大好きです。いや、最高ですよね。本当なんだっけラッキーって曲があれほど切なくていい曲ないと思ってるんですよね。スーパーカーってラジオヘッドに近い感じかな。日本のラジオヘッドみたいな感じだと僕は思ってるんですよね。visual novel. Yeah, I don't read visual novels. I read a little bit of manga, but not so much visual novels. I'm not saying that they're not good or anything like that. It's just it's never really been my thing. Any perspective about foreigner becoming a professor in uni in Japan? なんか真面目な質問ですみません。いや、とんでもないです。いやー、これ難しいと思うんですよね。っていうのは、今 AI がすごいことになってるじゃないですか。だからまあ今安全っていうか安定 AI が影響しない職業ってないと思うんですよね。だから大学の教授 like if you want to be like a professor in Japan or something like that, it's probably a pretty good profession, but at the same time, I do think that even though there will still be a significant number of people going to university in 10 years, at the same time, I think that we're all going to have like VR headsets strapped to our heads and like listening to lectures on YouTube that are like scripted and performed by Chat GPT and Sora. So it's like, I don't know, like there's no safe industries at this point. スーパーカーは2005年まで。よく知ってますね。聞いてみます。いや、スーパーカー僕大好きだったんですよ。今でも大好きなんですけど。まだ歌詞の解説動画の予定はありませんか？クリーピーナッツ以外はどうでしょうか？夜遊びの、夜シカとかは興味ないですか？アニメテーマ曲が多いバンドですが。そうなんですよ。僕、夜遊び好きな曲もあれば、 なんか苦手でもないんですけど、まあ苦手でいいかも。ちょっとなんかこう、ちょっと違うなっていう曲もまあまああるんですよね。But I'm actually not a VR headset right now. ね、なんだっけ、夜にかけるだったっけとか大好きなんですけど、うん。あれもめちゃくちゃ好きなんですけど、群青がちょっと自分にはいまいちっていうか、ちょっとピンとこないっていうか、メロディーとか曲の、構成大好きなんですけど、歌詞がちょっと自分には合わないかもしれないです。昭和の曲で好きなものありますか？パフィーです。ね、You might like Norwegian wood. ね、しょっぱい顔してる。ね、ちょっと待ってください。Was there a comment? Was there like a super chat that I missed? Okay, maybe not. Looks like I got it all. Any chance you've heard of the Japanese band Kirinji? No, I haven't. I might have to check them out. What's your opinion on enka music? ね、大好きってわけじゃないんですけど、独特ですごいと思います。Have you listened to the new Sheena Ringo album? I have not. I've heard a couple of the singles from it, and I think they're really, really good. But this is really hard for me to describe. Sheena Ringo is such a musical genius that it's kind of like Jacob Collier, is that his name? Where there was a time in my life where like I only listened to Sheena Ringo for like, I want to say close to like 3 years or something, just because I was so blown away and so like shook up by how incredible her music was. Puffy それ懐かしいですね。But I yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a weird way to describe it. I listened to Sheena Ringo so much that I think that I well, basically, I'm on kind of like a Sheena Ringo hiatus for a bit right now. Yeah, is Incomparable, Absolute Genius, her new album. Yeah, I mean, like again, like I heard a couple of the songs and they're totally brilliant, but I've kind of gone through like a couple of stages where for like a long time I was listening to arguably some form of pop, whether that was like J-pop or American pop or K-pop or whatever it might be. And then kind of like in the middle of that, I got really into Sheena Ringo, and her music again was so complicated and genius that it kind of I couldn't listen to anything else for a long time because of it. But then I listened to it so much that I kind of wanted to start a break from it. And now I'm kind of like back onto normal pop. So like I mentioned earlier, like that song New Jeans, Ditto by New Jeans. Like, yeah. Like Jacob Collier. It's it's so genius that it's it becomes slightly difficult for someone like me to properly enjoy it without really actively listening to it. And because I used to have a lot of time where I could allocate time to doing nothing but listening to music. That's what I would do. And I would just like sit down and listen to like a Sheena Dingle album or something like that in like a Starbucks. But because now I'm listening to a lot of music while I'm doing other things like writing or cleaning or something like that, I'm usually slightly preoccupied with something else. And if the music is a little bit too high level, like too complicated, then it almost like I can't get into it as much. You have good English for a Japanese guy. Arigatou gozaimasu. Okay. New Jeans Producer 2050 is really, really good too. Yeah. Yeah. Ditto, there's something about like a cool girl, like a cool pop girl that I think New Jeans captured so well when it's like not hypersexualized. When it's like overly sexualized, I think there's like kind of like a level of detachment, and it kind of like this is difficult to describe, but it's almost like they're using obviously like the visuals to kind of pull you into that as well. But I remember the first time I saw the music video for Ditto, and it's very not sexual. It's like they're very much fully clothed, and they're wearing like schoolgirl outfits, but it's not like super short skirts or anything like that. They're just kind of like filming each other and like doing this like dance in this room, but it's just like it feels so pure, like so just like incredible. And when you see like those, what is it, 5 girls that are that young and they're that talented and that pure, it's just like it's just magic. It's so brilliant. I almost cried when I think I did cry when I saw that. It's what would you say? It's it's like a perfect visual representation of someone about to become an adult and all of the potential that they have that they're about to explore for the rest of their life. And it's like perfectly captured in this 3-minute song. And I just thought that is like the coolest thing. Because it kind of took like the exact opposite approach of like a lot of the pop that we've seen from like the US, where I don't know, it was like Miley Cyrus, and like everything was like hypersexual. And despite the fact that Miley Cyrus has a really incredible voice, and some of her songs, like that song Miami, that's a really good song. What is this 3-minute song? It's called Ditto by New Jeans. But anyway, when it becomes like too sexual, whether that's like I don't know, Britney Spears had a couple songs like that. Christina Aguilera had a few songs like that, where it's just like, okay, it used to be about the music, but now it's more about like the objectivity, and that's kind of it becomes sketchy. Someone brought up Enka though earlier, and I thought that what was so cool. Why did New Jeans write a song about Pokemon? Someone wrote a comment about Enka earlier though, and one of the reasons that Gogo7188 that I love them so much, and I think that they could be like the greatest Japanese pop band, rock pop band of all time, is because of how the fact that the main singer kind of sang in an Enka style. And I thought that was so cool. They kind of had like a unique feel that I never saw in any other Japanese bands. How are people in Japan seeing the downtown Gakki no Tsukai after the Matsumoto scandal? I don't know. To be frank, I haven't. Oh yeah, please talk on Ono. What do you think of her? Not really my cup of tea. Um, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, not really my cup of tea. I know a lot of people really like her, but yeah. Um, I'm really interested in seeing her voice acting performance though in the Inyo Asano anime that's coming out. こんにちは。よろしくございますね。よろしくお願いします。Excuse me, 生ライブって言い方、ライブになってませんかね。あれ久しぶりの生配信。生ライブ僕、生ライブって言いました？With regards to again, the downtown Gakki no Tsukai, yeah, I said nama haishin, but I don't think I said nama raibu. It's hard to say. I think that something. One of the things that I've always thought about Japan is that a lot of the things that happen in the US tend to happen in Japan like 2 or 3 years later. And it's funny because I've thought this for a long time, but there's this great YouTube channel that's out right now. It's called Japan Analysis. And he actually articulated the same exact point. I forget which video it was, but he said, yeah, anything that's popular in the US ends up happening like 3 or 4 years later in Japan. And I was like, yes. And I think that that's true for also kind of like the Me Too movement. And I think what happened with the Me Too movement in the United States, we saw a lot of people that had never spoken out against those very, despicable acts. And then it kind of got, it turned into this much larger thing. And then it kind of got to a point where it seemed like it was kind of like overreaching, and there were like people that were, I think if I'm recalling it correctly, there was like some people that they were making like, I don't know if it was like a false accusation or the things that they were posting. People were saying that sounds just like a hookup. Like that doesn't really sound like the same thing as we were talking about earlier in the earlier bits of the movement. And where again, like it was much more founded on clearly despicable things that were happening. And I kind of get the impression that that same kind of thing happened in Japan, where there was kind of a movement, I want to say, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago, where a lot of people started coming out and saying, this really terrible thing happened to me. It definitely dipped into a lot of false accusations and a lot of, well, I regretted it later. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the impression that I got from watching the thing from afar. But anyway, I haven't really been following the Matsumoto scandal yet, but some of the comments that I saw on Twitter seem to kind of give that same general vibe where, of course, there's still like a fair number of people that were saying like, I'll never watch like Matsumoto-san again. Like this is unforgivable. But then I was seeing like other people saying, well, was it... Again, I could be like, I could be mixing this up entirely, but my understanding, which could be wrong, was like, hi, I'm up in a hotel. Do you want to come up here? And he was like inviting women up into like a hotel with him or something like that. And they were like, okay, yeah. And then it turned into like again, I don't know what actually happened in the hotel or not, but I kind of get kind of that same general vibes where it's kind of on I'm not sure if it's going to affect Matsumoto-san in the same way that it's kind of affect a lot of other people. Okay. 一番好きな辞書は何ですか？辞書ね、なんか、なんだっけな。I used to have a 辞書 that was like, なんか小説のための辞書みたいなものあったんですよね。小説を書きたい人のための辞書。あれは良かったな。なくしてしまったんですけど。逆に日本語話者が英語を学ぶときに重要な点は何ですか？ありすぎて説明できないです。英語脳を作ることですかね。なんかこう、日本語を学ぶときもそうなんですけど、こう頭の中で訳すのではなく、最初から英語で話すみたいな、そういうのを最初から作ろうとしないと失敗しがちじゃないかなと思います。日本で1年以内に結婚しないといけない。日本で1年以内に結婚しないといけない。将来絶対日本に住みたくて、東京けどどうも危ないわ。日本で1年以内に結婚しないといけない。I need to get married in Japan in 1 year. In the future, I want to live in Japan. Tokyo, what do you think? Is it dangerous? I'm not sure if I'm reading this comment correctly or not. It sounds like you're about to get married in Japan, but then you're also saying that you want to live in Japan? So I'm kind of confused about what you're saying. Like, are you already living here? And it kind of, I personally wouldn't want to raise kids in Tokyo just because it's a little bit too busy for me. There's a lot of people that I know that love being in the city more than anything else. And I think that if you're one of those people, it could be a lot of fun. But I really kind of like the little bits, the slow life. 東京別に危なくないと思うけどな。そうですよね。僕もそこも危ないことはないんじゃないかなと思うんですけどね。まあその日本の中では比較的危ないかもしれないんですけど、世界と比べたら大して危なくないと思うんですね。家賃高いけどね。そうですね。高いね。Excuse me. Hair growing in nicely. No, it's just the comb over. Hey, speaking of which, I thought I'd mention this. I've got this camera right now that Panasonic is releasing. It's called the Panasonic S9. I've got a friend of a friend basically who's kind of like lending me the camera, and I'm going to be sending it back after like a month or so. But this camera is unreal. I cannot believe how incredible this camera is. Oh my God. As soon as I have to send this back, I'm going to buy a new one. It's got this feature on it, like built-in LUTs. It's like Instagram filters where I can just like instantly change the look of the camera. Like, this is so cool. It's unbelievable. Do you recommend Japanese or Chinese? The language? Are you talking about the language? 道元さんは今何県に住んでいますか？大分県です。Camera looks unreal. いや、このカメラやばいよね。そのオートフォーカス、自動フォーカスオートフォーカスもうすっごいんですよ。もう早すぎて笑っちゃいます。Third filter is fire. I do both Japanese and Chinese. いいカメラですね。いや、このカメラ、 The camera that I use is like it came out in like 2013, and I really like it, but I've been using it for so long that I haven't used a modern camera like at all. And when I picked this thing up and I turned it on, I fell over because how good it was. I couldn't believe how incredible this thing is. Um, it's like 10 times better than my normal camera. ね。Okay. Oh, what's up, Ryan? Glad to have you stop in here. I hope you end up coming to Beppa soon and we can hang out. And includes pitch accent. So my buddy Ryan Andrews is in chat right now. He's an illustrator that lives up in Fukuoka, and he's done some incredible work. I really highly recommend that you guys check out his stuff. Any recommendations on light novels / manga to read as a beginner Japanese learner? Hey, there he is. Hey, how's it going? Looking forward to hopefully meeting up soon. I loved your breakdown of Bling Bang Bang Born. Do you have any plans to do that for another song? I'm thinking that I might do it for Gunjo Biori by Tokyo Jihen. The thing is, that video took so long to make, and the first one did so incredibly well. And like the overwhelming majority of comments that I got on that video were like, please make another one of these videos. Please make another one of these videos. Please make another one of these videos. And that the first video was like #1 out of 10 by far. It exceeded my wildest expectations. Shinjuku wa go. Yeah, exactly that song. I love that song. That's, I think, one of the greatest Japanese pop songs ever made, pop rock songs ever made. I'll get back to you on that. I finally caught up on your live streams. Oh, glad. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm really glad that you stopped in. And if you do end up coming to Beppo, I hope that I can take you out for some good tori tempura. I know some good places. And if you come, bring like an art book or something like that, because I'd love to see some of your like nama no shigoto o mitai desu. ね。What was I talking about? Yeah, so the first video did so well and so many people seemed to appreciate it. And then the second video that I worked even harder on completely tanked. It immediately went to like 10 out of 10, like the worst performing video of like the previous 10 videos. And it got like, not only was it 10 out of 10, it was like, the average number of views was so far below average that I was like, huh, well, this is no good. So I was like, I'm gonna just go back to kind of comedy stuff for a little bit. But I don't know, I might try and do that again, the Gunjo Biori, just because I think that's such a brilliant song. There's some line in that song, Shikatte kure, that is so brilliant. It's basically there's this bit in that song, ne kotae wa nai no dareka no sei ni shitai chanto kyouiku shite shikatte kure. So terrible singing, but that's like, those lyrics are so unbelievably genius that it, like, I almost had like a nervous breakdown when I first heard those, because it was like, こんなに天才な、こんな天才いるんだみたいな。And it basically, the translation is, can somebody tell me the answer? ねえ、答えはないの。Can somebody tell me the answer? I want to blame this on somebody. Why don't you educate me in the right way? You have to like scold me more. And it's like, it does such an unbelievably brilliant job of kind of like capturing like the complicated angsty feelings of youth, where it's like you want to rebel, but at the same time, sometimes you know that you're not justified in your rebellion, but you still want to keep on powering through it anyway because you're just being that edgy kid, so to speak. And I think that does such a brilliant job of capturing that. I was like, oh my God, it's so good. Have you come across the Cure Dolly channel? An interesting presentation compared to other channels, but I found the Japanese perspective-driven approach by her explanations almost without competition. Yeah, I've heard some really, really fantastic stuff about her teaching. And I've watched a little bit of some of her videos. I just haven't really watched that many from start to finish because it was a little bit difficult for me to watch personally because despite the information being second to none and also her ability to teach, the presentation was a little bit, it wasn't really my style, I guess. It was kind of like this VTuber kind of thing, but then it was also kind of like this like robotic thing. I can't really remember it. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, I mean, like she's probably next to none when it comes to like actually teaching. Gunjo Biori by Tokyo Jihen. Yeah, such a good song. That could be the single greatest Japanese pop rock song ever written, quite simply. 洋楽が好きだけど英語を学ぶのが難しい。魔法のプリンセス、ミンキーモモ。あ、知らないです。Made me finally watch anime without subtitles with Japanese subtitles. She was right about what she said. Why do you want to learn Japanese? Immerse. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's the right approach. I think that you do want to kind of, I mentioned this earlier when someone asked about like, what's the best way to learn English? And what I said is, you don't really want to think about like, how would I translate this English sentence into Japanese in my head? Or like, how do I translate this Japanese thought into English? You really kind of want to go from the ground up and just kind of like make a second brain that thinks in the other language that you're learning. 椎名林檎の曲はよく聴いてたけど、東京事変聞いたことなかった。今度聞いてみます。椎名林檎は聞いてたけど、東京事変は聞いてないってどういうことですか？東京事変、いや、どっちも最高だけどな。東京事変のスポーツってアルバムが完全にもう名作っていうか、歴史に残る一つの J-POP アルバムっていうか、まあ J-POP っていうか J-ROCK っていうか、こんにちは、私椎名林檎、氏はテレビでそのパフォーマンスを見るたびに誇らしくなります。椎名林檎女子スポーツメモいやー、スポーツは最高だな。絶対絶命とか先行少女とか能動的3分間とか生きるとかあとなんだっけ、もうどの曲も最高だ。椎名林檎ってアーティストの名前は知ってるけど曲は聞いたことがない。いや、椎名林檎を聞いたことのない人たち羨ましくて仕方ないです。椎名林檎を初めて聞いた時の衝撃っていうか、もう最高です。あの時の自分に戻りたい。もう一度その椎名林檎を知らない脳で椎名林檎のアルバムを聴いてみたいです。スポーツは名盤っていうんですかね。名盤。自分は教育が好きです。教育も最高ですね。 教育も最高だな。どっちがいいのかな。大人も最高だよね。なんだっけ。透明人間。透明人間、化粧直し。一郎のために書いた曲。なんだっけ。地面、なんだっけ。まあいいや。何歳ですか ?36 歳です。日本語勉強中ですから、日本人が変かどうかすぐ分からなくて、付き合ったら大変。女の子のレッドフラッグが何Well, thank you very much for the donation. いや、どの人種もそうですけど、人によります。変な日本人の女の子もいるし、変な男の子も、男性もいるけど、それはアメリカ人もそうですし、ヨーロッパの人もそうですし、アフリカの人もそうですし、個人の問題です。人種の問題じゃなくて、スーパースターですね。そうだった。I like Sheena a lot because I'm listening. So yeah, for the someone McClunky just asked, what are like the red flags for when dating a Japanese girl? And my answer was, it's not really like a Japanese girl thing. It's just like you got to have red flags for the people that you date in general, I think. I don't know, like if she's if you find her on Tinder after you're already on a date with her, that's a red flag. But if you're on Tinder, then yeah, you should get off Tinder too. Was there anything you specifically did to elevate or speed up your language learning process, like fully immersing? Language is truly an interesting journey. Thank you for inspiring me. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. Thank you very much for the super chat, first of all. I really appreciate that. There's a couple of things that I did. What time is it, by the way? Okay, yeah, we're still good. I've kind of gone through a couple of different phases with learning Japanese. And what I mean by that is my first main goal with learning with Japanese was to get to a point where I was as native sounding as I possibly could be. So that was my first goal. And so that's why I studied a lot of like pitch, accent, and pronunciation at first. And then I had to do a little, like a bunch of kind of catch up with like my grammar and my vocab, like my lexicon, like the total number of Japanese words that I knew. Yeah, Sheena Ringo has a song with 新しい学校。決めたいのでも決めないのって曲だよね。いや、俺も大好き。あれもめっちゃいい曲だなと思った。But I think when it comes to like learning Japanese, I think with most things you have to determine exactly what your goal is. Because like for me right now, it's less important for me to be like the best Japanese speaker that I can be as it is for me to be the funniest writer that I can be. Because at this point in my career, I guess, it's the humor of the jokes is more important than the quality of the jokes is more important than becoming like 1 or 2% better in terms of sounding that much more Japanese. Because my Japanese is pretty good in terms of like my pronunciation. It's better than most foreigners. There's a lot of foreigners that speak better Japanese than me. That's for sure. But I think I'm definitely on the better end. But the thing that kind of makes me stand out, I guess, is because there's not a lot of people, not a lot of foreigners who do comedy in Japanese. I mean, there's a few. There's me. There's my buddy, Ricciardo. He's incredible. Ricciardo TV. I think most of his stuff is better than most of my stuff. He's so good. I love his content. and then of course my buddy Yabatan. But we're all kind of like a little bit different. I tend to feel like I kind of do a little bit more wordplay, and like a lot of my skits and stuff recently have kind of been more about learning, well, like kind of life in Japan, and well, like having kids in Japan and like banks in Japan and that kind of thing, where he does a lot more kind of like gritty stuff, like the dating scene in Tokyo and that kind of thing. So there's not really even that much overlap to begin with. And then also Yabatan, like he has kind of like a fundamentally different audience than either of us, where he's just going straight to the Japanese audience. So, you know, we all kind of have like our own little niche or whatever. But that's the thing that I'm trying to kind of get to, hi, which is that, again, like what do you want to do with your Japanese? Because I think that you need to figure that out first. And then once you know, you can kind of create your study plan based on that. But if just getting as good at Japanese as possible is part of your plan, then I do think that immersion is a critical tool, or like, what would you say, process, method for that. And like during my entire like third and fourth year of university, I was more or less just listening to Japanese basically all the time. At least I was listening to way more Japanese than I was listening to English. So yeah, I would say try and listen to as much Japanese as possible. Were you an ALT when you first entered Japan? Did you like it? No, so I studied abroad in Japan, in Tokyo, for a year first. So a little bit different. Gavin, I'm working towards going to UW for the Japanese linguistics program. Do you have any advice? Thank you. You've inspired me greatly. Hey, yeah, my pleasure. I don't know. I mean, like, not really, because I'm not sure if you're asking for advice for like getting into UW, or like if you're already in UW and you're looking for advice about like how to structure your Japanese studies there. So I'd need to clarify that before kind of giving any advice. Hola, hey, how's it going? What about the Why Japanese People comedian from a few years back, Atsugiri Jason? I don't know, like Atsugiri Jason も彼もなんかこう視聴者が違うんですよね。彼はどっちかっていうとなんか純粋なコントっていうか、完全に日本人向けのお笑いをやってたんですよね。外国人向けじゃなくて、僕はどっちかって言えば外国人向け、まあもちろんその日本人の視聴者もいるんですけど、ほとんどが most of my viewers are foreigners, but there's some Japanese viewers. But like Atsugiri Jason, like he's very much like, what would you say, a member of the Japanese entertainment owarai scene, and their audience is like almost exclusively like Japanese people. And so again, like there's just really not that much overlap. I'm curious how competitive and okay, so I'm not there yet, but structuring and such, yeah. Okay, so already in UW, I guess it's just worth it for fun to communicate with way more people. Sorry, internet. I'm curious how competitive and rigorous the program will be. I don't know. When I was in it, I want to say there was probably like between 25 and 50 people in most of my fourth year classes. So it's kind of like small enough to know everyone else in your classes. And everyone kind of, again, has like different goals. Like some people are learning Japanese to go on the JET program. Like that was me. I had just been accepted to the JET program, and I wanted to get on to the JET program. So I was like starting my application for that way early in the year and stuff like that. There were some people at UW that spoke way better Japanese than I did. And like they had N1 before even graduating. I guess it was the JLPT EQ back then. But they ended up like not even coming to Japan. And then there were some people that were kind of just like Japanese was like their double major, and they were going into business. So I don't know. I mean, like you'll probably like develop a couple of like rivals, so to speak. I don't know if rivals is the right word, but people that have similar goals to you, but you don't really want to think about them as rivals. You want to kind of befriend those people, and you know, uh, I ended up becoming good friends with all those people on the in the Japanese program, um, and I think that when I was a little bit younger than that, like I want to say during like the beginning of study abroad, I had way too much pride in my Japanese, and I wanted to be like the foreigner that spoke Japanese better than like anyone else. But I think that's a wrong mindset completely. It's really immature because there's always someone that's better than you. And the more that you want to lean into that, like I'm the really good one or whatever, like the more kind of toxic you become, but also kind of the more detached you become from reality, because if you do encounter that person that's better than you, you either kind of like go into that like denial mode, like, well, they're better than me at this, but I'm better than them at that. Because like you kind of structure your whole being, like your self-worth of like, I'm special because of this thing, or yeah. So I don't know. I think that there's kind of a tendency to kind of think like that for some people within the Japanese learning community, because there's also a fair number of Japanese people in the learning community that one of the reasons they want to come to Japan, it's kind of similar in the sense of they want to come to Japan because if they're the rare foreigner, that'll make them special. And like this was me as well for a certain period of my life. But like that's not good. That's not healthy, because there's no merit in just being different, right? Like, okay, what did you work for? Like, what are your skills? Et cetera, et cetera. And so just try and be as down to earth and as humble as possible, and always try and be curious and hungry for more knowledge, and always realize that there's going to be someone that's way better than you. And even when you are better than the people that are in your immediate, what do you say? Like if you're even like the best Japanese speaker in your like friends group or whatever, the best thing that you can do is not to become boastful about that. It's in fact to help your friends and to encourage them as much as possible, because they'll return the favor someday. But Dogen, I'm not like those other gaikokujin. Exactly. It's like, no. I can actually speak Japanese. No, like I'm actually jozu. I think most of us have been there. Yeah, vicinity. That's the word I was looking for. Sejun Park. Hey Dogen, I recently came across your flips and tricks video from long ago. Do you still do things like flips actively? No, but recently I can do 10 pull-ups now, finally. Because I've got a pull-up bar in my house. 予言者距離をこれなんていうものかなって知ってる？いや、知らないです。入れる？予言者距離に入れられず。知らないです。Are you still practicing martial arts, Dogen Sensei? No. So like I'm way too injured at this point to be able to do any of those flips and stuff like that I used to do back in the day. But right now I got really into sports and working out and being fit and that kind of thing, like when I was in university, and I used to do this thing called martial arts tricking, and sorry, I was looking at the comments, and at the time, like I was really in shape. Like I could do probably close to like 20 pull-ups. I could do like 5 handstand push-ups without a wall. I could do like 360 backflips on one leg, and some pretty crazy stuff, relatively speaking. But I ended up getting so passionate about that and becoming so infatuated with that I got so many injuries and I screwed up like my shoulder and my chest and my hip and my knee and my ankles and like everything. And because of that, I went from being able to do like 20-ish pull-ups to literally none because like I tore like my rotator cuff. And yeah, like Webster's, like step back Webster's, losers, axe Webster's, that kind of thing. But I screwed up my rotator cuff and I basically went overnight from being pretty fit and pretty healthy and athletic to not being able to do anything. And so are all your current injuries from that? Yeah, they're all from tricking. I did it too hardcore. 世の中の先々を見通す偉大な人物も、教理の人たちからは敬遠され、温かく迎えられない。面白い表現ですね。ちょっと調べてみますね、この後。So I don't know, for the past like 5 years, I've been kind of like building back up to pull-ups. Like, okay, now I can do 4. Oh, then I screw up my shoulder again. Okay, now I can do 7. And now I screwed up my shoulder again, back to 0. But because I have a pull-up bar in my house now, and because I took it really slow over the course of 2 years, I can now do my goal of 10 pull-ups after a proper warm-up anyway. Any advice to being hardcore athletic without injuring yourself? Yeah, it's pretty easy actually. It's just you make the most gains when you're resting, not when you're working out. And the tendency to think of it the other way around is what ends up causing injuries. People are like, well, if I work out like 7 days a week, then I'll get way stronger than if I work out like 4 days a week or 3 days a week or something like that. And I don't know, there's some truth to that. It kind of depends on like where you are at your like athletic journey, because if you're like an elite athlete, then yeah, you probably do need to train literally every single day. But for the overwhelming majority of us, it's you need the rest time or you'll just end up screwing yourself up. You'll get like a shoulder injury. You won't be able to work out and you'll end up actually hurting yourself more than helping. 仕事に戻ります。ではまた。はい、お疲れ様です。よしみちゃん、ありがとうございます。Yeah, you got to know when to rest properly. Chest 3 days a week. Abs can heal in 24 hours. Legs once or twice a week. Exercising, my one weakness. まだ体が痛いですか？体の痛いですか？はい、まだ痛いです。かなり、なんだろう、ボコボコっていうか、おっさんの体です。完全に。関節がダメです。漫才、音声解説、歌詞解説など複数のジャンルの動画を投稿されていますが、どれが一番作るの大変ですか？全部大変ですね。僕にとって一番大変なのが音声解説です。なんでかって、前をもって勉強しなきゃいけないからなんですよね。かなり。で、漫才動画、でも、脚本が出来上がったら、演技する必要がないんで、撮影自体は簡単です。脚本を書いてそれを読み上げるだけです。でも、漫才だったら演技しなきゃいけないんで、漫才の場合は、撮影自体が一番大変です。で、歌詞の解説動画は、前をもって勉強しなくていいし、演技もしなくていいんですけど、編集がめちゃくちゃ大変です。多分Creepy Nuts の Bling Bang Bang Born の動画の2本目を見ればわかると思うんですけど、 多分10分あたりのところでタイトルが本当50個以上っていうところあったんですよね。50個以上のテキストがこう画面に載ってて、それのタイミングをこう調整したり、こっちの動画、こっちのテキストからフォーカスを移して、今からこっちを話しますねみたいな、そのテロップの編集とか、なんでalso don't skip leg day, yeah もう全部難しいんですけど、僕にとって一番厄介なのは、やっぱ前をもって勉強することなんでかって、一番好きなことは、その文章を書くことなんですよ。文章を書くのが大好きなんです。でもクリエイティブな文章なんですよね。なんで、学論みたいなエッセイを書くのが好きじゃなくて、なんで、ブリンビンビンボーンは最近1位から落ちてみた？見てないです。結論、全部大変。なるほど。ありがとうございます。まあそうです。結論全部大変です。動画編集は、Adobe 系列、プリミアなどとかですか？ダヴィンチとかですか？いいえ、僕はファイナルカットプロです。Adobe 嫌いです。ダヴィンチも嫌いです。最近の Adobe のなんだっけ、Terms and Agreements の変更があったんですよね。Yo, we're watching your live stream. へえ、そうなんだ。We って誰？my cousin's watching. Adobe, they had that thing where it's like, you need to approve our new terms and conditions, or you need to agree to our new terms and conditions if you want to keep using our software. And it was like, okay, what are the terms and conditions? You agree to let Adobe use everything that you've created for whatever they want. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? おい、ダヴィンチが最高。いや、僕ダヴィンチ使おうとしたんですけど、ダメでした。バグが多すぎて、落ちる頻度がめちゃくちゃ高かったんですよ。もう何度、いくらソフトを開こうと思っても、5回ぐらい開こうと思っても開かず、パソコンの再起動をしなきゃいけないみたいなこともたくさんあって、もう使い物にならんと思ってやめたんです、すぐに。で、ファイナルカットプロは、一つの購入でもう永遠に持てるじゃないですか。一度買ったらずっと使える。使えるし、落ちること、僕のパソコンではね、まずないし、落ちてそれまでの作業が無駄になったってことを経験したこともないですし、もう僕ファイナルカットプロ大好きです。本当大好きです。ドゲンさんは何歳？ドーゲンです。ドゲンじゃなくて、36歳です。Oh, and hyper polyglotting with Elise. Thanks for stopping in. I know I've seen you before. I think it was on Twitter. Thanks for stopping in. そうなんですよ。僕、ファイナルカット大好きなんですよ。たびたびすみません。動画編集ソフトを使用している編集環境は Apple 系ですか？ Windows 系ですか？ Apple です。Apple 信者です。そうだな。このカメラはもう自動フォーカスがあるんで見せましょうか。じゃあこれちょっといけるかな。いけ けるのかな。これちょっと微妙かも。これね、Apple のスタジオディスプレイといって、中にスピーカーとかが入ってて、なんでスピーカーを置かなくていいっていう、なんかいい点があって、画質もめちゃくちゃ綺麗です。5K で。で、パソコンはこれ、Apple の、なんだっけ、M1 Max ってチップですね。なんで、もう、アップル、って感じですね。アップル信者ですね。って感じです。Sean, who's we? I'm so curious. 私は運動が嫌いです。はい、本当に。いや、運動はそうですね。楽しくないんですけど、運動はめっちゃくちゃ大事ですので、嫌いでもちゃんとやってくださいね。やっていってね。やってね。Okay, sorry about that. I still cannot believe how good this camera looks. Twitter でしょうね。久しぶりに生配信、に間に合えて嬉しいですよ。道元さんの英語字幕の翻訳学習、材料としてずっと進めてきたんです。なるほど。ありがとうございます。翻訳学習材料ですね。Yeah, sorry about that. That was the wrong button. Yeah, this camera is unbelievable. This is the new Panasonic S9. It's so funny because a lot of people, there's like so much drama about this camera on YouTube right now. Like, anyway, it's funny because it's like really good for some people, but it doesn't have a lot of like really super high-end pro features. But as someone who is coming from like a camera that came out in like 2013, I'm just like floored by how good this thing is. I'm a total Apple user myself, used Final Cut Pro back in the day, might try DaVinci Resolve if I do that again. Again, like I tried using DaVinci Resolve like a week ago for like the 5th time. It's like my 5th time trying to use Resolve, and it was just buggy. It refused to open. And then I had to give it like access to like my desktop, or it couldn't like import files, and then it still couldn't import them. And then I had to like go back into the settings in my computer and like fix that. And then once I did that, I thought it was going to be okay. But then there was like a second sub menu that I had to like give it access to as well. And then I did all that, and then like I restarted my computer, and then the program just wouldn't open for like 15 minutes, and it was just like the most infuriating thing ever. And I was like, I'm done with this. I'm never using this software again. Yeah. ロードバイクは楽しいんだ。運動じゃない。忍者レイヤー。忍者スレイヤー。忍者スレイヤー。読んだことありますか？ in 日本語 or 英語。ないです。忍者スレイヤー飲んだことないです。I've been editing using Premiere, I guess, DaVinci, Final Cut Pro for years, and now I just use CapCut. best one for me so far. I'm kind of curious about CapCut actually because of like the auto detect like AI like subtitle stuff. That's kind of like interesting for me because like it doesn't work for my comedic videos, but for like a video where I break down Japanese, that might be useful. Disappointing about Resolve. I hear so much about them. Final Cut Pro then. Um, yeah, I've used a lot of Blackmagic products over the years, and unfortunately, I don't like to say this because some of the products that they've created have been some of my favorite products that like I've ever used in my life. But then some of their other products that they've made have been like some of the worst products that I've ever used. And I had to completely stop. I'm just like I'm saying basically goodbye to to Blackmagic at this point. I personally love DaVinci for free software. It's amazingly fully functional. Um, well, I mean, yeah, if you've had good experience with DaVinci, then don't listen to what I'm saying. I'm just speaking from kind of my own personal experiences. I dabbled in YouTube and other stuff and other channel, and man, editing and stuff was so tilting. I just wish I hired a good editor so I didn't need to think. Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky because there are certain things that you can leave to an editor, and then there are certain other things that you really can't. Blackmagic and dying HDMI ports. 変な日本がいっぱいで日本でも人気の作品です。へえ、そうですね。ちょっとチェックしてみますね。Yeah, but this camera right now, again, this is called the Panasonic S9, and I've been playing with it for the past couple days, and I am like 愕然としてます。なんじゃこりゃみたいな。このカメラすごすぎて。And the thing that I love more than anything else is this like built-in LUT function. Well, first of all, again, like this is the first camera that I've ever owned that has autofocus. So like even this to me is like unbelievable. It's like, oh my God, I don't have to do anything and it just like focuses perfectly. That's amazing. But then again, like I can just like change the look like on the fly like this. I can easily like import LUTs and just bake them into the footage and scroll through them like with a single button. Like that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. That's not good for this particular shooting environment. Where's that like orangish one? No. Yeah, this one looks pretty good too. Like this camera's unbelievable. S9 で写真を撮ったりしますか？いや、家に届いてまだ2日目なんで、写真はまだ撮ってないんですけど、これは絶対に買います。これ今、友達からちょっと、友達っていうか、今、貸し出しで使ってるんですよ。なんで、まだ買ってないんですけど、確実に買います。これはとんでもないカメラです。発表された時はいろいろあったみたいなんですけど、全くわからないです。これ、名機でいいですかね？名機って言うんでしたっけ？しまった。Yeah, I cannot believe how incredible this camera is. It's unbelievable. 名機ですね。Sorry, SD. I can understand 99% of your streams, but I can't tell the difference between L and R accurately from hearing it once. Any tips for my dumb brain? Are you a Japanese speaker? An English speaker? 名義まずいかもです。いや、そういう名義じゃなくてあの下ネタかよ下ネタそうだ、下ネタ。Sorry 下ネタ下ネタじゃないし。下ネタかよ。道元さん、下ネタ失礼しました。あね、This is how I feel after finally replacing our 2005 Mazda Demio with a new car 2 years ago. Felt like we were living in the future for a while. Right? So, Andrew, again, or sorry, Ryan Andrews. Yeah, we're about to actually buy a new car. So it's funny that you mentioned that. We're thinking about buying a Suzuki Solio. We've been using a K car for the past like 10 years or so. So I'm hoping to have that same kind of feeling with reply to SD, please. Okay. Japanese. L と R の違い。これは教え方合っているかどうかわからないんですけど、自分の経験をちょっと語りますね。僕の場合は最初肯定アクセントの違いが聞き取れなかったんですよ。日本人からすると、いや、聞き取れないわけないだろうみたいな感じなんですけど、最高と最高、それの違いが聞き取れなかったんですよ。で、どうやって聞き取れるようになったかというと、自分の話している声を録音して、それを後で聞いてみたら、こうだったんだってなぜか自分が言おうとすることによって、また言おうとすることによってそれを後で解説っていうか、分析しようと思った姿勢を持てば、なぜか気づくんです。僕の場合はそうだったんですけど、自分がその間違いを起こしているのを聞いて初めてその違いが分かった。他人がやっているのを聞いても分からなかったんですけど、自分がやっているのを聞いて、なるほどってなったんです。なんで、日本人からすると L と R もそうかもしれないですね。他人がその英語のネイティブが、L を使ったり R を使ったり、しているのを聞いても聞き取れないかもしれないんですけど、自分でその音を作ろうとすることによって気づくかもしれないです。なんでぜひ自分でやってみて、でさらにそうしている自分の声を録音してみてください。でそれを後でまた聞いてください。聞いてみてください。そうすることによって、気づくかもしれないです。保証はないんですけど、自分の場合はそうだったんですよね。ぜひ、試してください。Okay, so yeah, so I did reply to SD. ここのライブの人、日本人なのか、英語圏の人なのか、見分けがつかないですね。ちょっとわからないです。もう多分、7割が英語圏の人ですかね。A bigger car is so nice with kids, right? I'm so excited because our current K car, it doesn't have sliding doors. It has like the standard doors that you open on the side. But the Suzuki Solio, it has like automatic sliding doors that you can open with the key. Like from outside of the car or from the front seat. I feel like it's going to be like, I'm so excited. Okay, but I'm gonna have to get going pretty soon, guys, because I I didn't work out yesterday, and I didn't work out the day before either, and I try and work out at least every other day. Oh, it's a K card, dude. Please show it off on your channel if you haven't already. Well, I can't show it off. I'll like tape up the license plate or something like that, and then I'll like take it somewhere that's not by my house. What's your plan for AI disrupting everything since you have kids? 儲けれるうちにできるだけ儲けること。So what's your plan for AI? Make as much money while I still can, basically. Loved your take on Creepy Nuts and their lyricist. He is really good, and your breakdowns were great. Love that insight. Hope you do more of those down the road as you find more good music. I mostly just try and shadow what Japanese people are saying and then chat GPT app for weird Japanese convo. Well, for what it's worth, chat GPT 4.0, it's not very good at Japanese right now. Like, it doesn't really make grammatical mistakes as far as I can tell, but it sounds like me speaking Japanese. It doesn't sound like a native Japanese speaker. You can hear the foreign accent in ChatGPT's Japanese. I mean, it'll probably be a matter of time before it's native, but it's not there yet. The Solio is so cheap by US car standards too, and it's so nice, right? It's a really cool car. Like, I think that it's I think they'd really sell like hotcakes in the States if they sold them. Yo, you speak Japanese great. Don't put yourself down. Yeah, まあまあです。まあまあです。なんだろう、こう。人をどう分けるかによると思うんですよね。っていうのは、その日本語を学んでいる人たちの中ではかなり上の方だと思うんですよね。でもその人たちじゃなくて、その日本語できて当然の人たちで評価されてしまうと、まあ中間ぐらいじゃないかなと思います。道元さんの日本語は本当にすごいと思います。いやー、普通です。日本語で冗談を作ることで、この人うまいとこう勘違い、日本語で冗談が作れる人が少ないから、それで勘違いする人が多いです。すごいなんかこう冗談まで作れるんだみたいな。でも冗談を作るコツと日本語を話すコツって全然違うんで。I drive a Fiat 500 in dense US city and it's so cramped despite being only 9 inches shorter. Hey man, never caught you live before, but wanted to thank you for all the content and keeping on the grind. Glad you made it. I found you back in 2015 and you've made a lot to me. Hope life's good. Hey, thank you very much, Michael. I really appreciate that. It's normal to want to drop your whole life to move to Japan. But should I do it? I hear the economy is so rough lately. Well, for what it's worth, the only way that the Japanese economy is going to get better is if more people move to Japan. So I think that, yeah, if you think that you would like to live in Japan, and especially if you're getting paid with the dollar, then yeah, like come to Japan, if nothing more than for my sake. All right, guys, I got to end the stream here, but I'm going to show you guys one thing really quick before I end the stream. I've been working on something for the past year that I haven't talked about at all. And I can't get into the details at all. I can't really get into anything below just the very, very surface details right now. But I'm going to give you guys just one little, what would you say, glimpse of something that I'm working on right now. Wait, something's coming? Rapido, vámonos, ándale. So without getting into the details, I'm making a manga right now. And I'm going to show you one of the pictures of the manga. So give me 1 second. So you guys, I don't know if you saw that video I did, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 3 months ago at this point, but I've been helping, I don't know, helping is maybe a little bit too, I don't know if helping is the right word or not, but I've been doing a little bit of work with my friend Rafal Yaki on his work. He's working on multiple kind of comic and manga and graphic novel, that kind of thing right now. And I helped serve as kind of like a semi-editor role for one of his manga, this thing called No Name. It's a really fantastic story. He was the first non-Japanese person to be published in Shonen Jump. And in addition to serving as kind of like an editor for some of the stuff that he's been working on, I've been working on 2 big projects of my own, one of which is a completely original manga that I'm working on right now. And I'm not going to tell you guys anything about this just yet, but I am going to show you just one picture. I did not draw this picture. I'm working with 2 professional artists to make this happen. And I recently met up with one of them because they were out in Japan for a trip. So I'm going to show you guys an image that I had him draw for me when he swung by my house. So here we go. Jajang. So I'm not going to get into any more details right now, but I hope that we're able to make an announcement about this, a proper announcement, and that you guys are able to read chapter 1 within the next 6 months, hopefully. All right, I'm going to end the stream here, though. Thank you guys so much for stopping in, and I'm really glad. I like the reactions. Thank you guys very much. It means a lot. Seriously. I've been working real hard on this. What's the author's name? Well, I'm the author, but the person who drew this, I don't know if I can actually say their name yet because we haven't announced together that we're working on this thing, but it's all going to be coming out in the near future. So be on the lookout. I'll just leave it at that. All right, I gotta get going, guys. Thank you so much for stopping in. 今後ともよろしくお願いします。ありがとうございます。それでは、じゃあね、さようなら. See you guys. And Ryan, if you're still here, I hope that I can see you when you swing in to Beppu. All right, see you guys. じゃあね.